Electrocast.
This episode is brought to you by TurboTax. TurboTax experts make all your moves count. Filing with 100% accuracy and getting your max refund guaranteed. So whether you started a podcast like this one, side hustled your way to concert tickets, or quit your job to stream video games online full-time, switch to TurboTax and make your moves count. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Hi, and welcome to Deep Leadership. I'm your host, John Rennie. I hope all is well with you today. It is Saturday morning, and I'm drinking a hot cup of Bottom Gun coffee from my friends at bottomguncoffee.com. I have another great show lined up for you, but before we get started, I just wanted to mention my latest leadership book. It's called You Have the Watch, and it's available for sale on my website and on Amazon. In fact, it's already a #1 new release and bestseller on Amazon. I'm really excited about this book because it's not actually a book. It's a guided journal for leaders to take you through an entire year of leadership training. There are 50 themes in the book, and each day you'll reflect on a different facet of that theme. This journal is designed to be on your desk at work for you to read and reflect on for about 15 minutes each morning. Leadership skills are like any other skills. You need to practice them to get better at them, and this journal helps you practice those skills. If you're interested in this guided journal, go to youhavethewatch.com or Amazon to pick up your copy today. Now, if you're looking for other ways to support what I'm doing on this show, purchase any one of my books at johnsrennie.com. Podcast listeners can use the discount code DEEP at checkout to get additional savings. Well, that is it. Today, my guest is Cesar Hasselmann. Cesar is an entrepreneur, author, mentor, coach, and business consultant. He has spent more than 20 years growing international businesses, and I was excited to sit down with him to listen to the things that he's learned along the way. Now, if you want to know what it's really like to start, maintain, and grow an international business, this is your episode. So, are you ready to dive in? Let's get started.
Welcome to Deep Leadership. Leadership is a people business. That's the philosophy of your podcast host, John Rennie. As a former Cold War submarine officer who spent 20 plus years leading businesses in corporate America before starting his own manufacturing business, he knows that leadership matters. Are you ready for some real-world actionable advice from John as well as his expert guests?
I'm ready.
The show starts right now.
Welcome to the Deep Leadership Podcast. Today, I'm joined by Cesar Hasselmann. Cesar is the CEO of AMH Consultancy. He is an author, mentor, coach, and business consultant. He has over 20 years of experience in business strategy, acquisition, succession planning, market share, team building, sales, marketing, and business development. His expertise is identifying opportunities and delivering creative solutions, and he's getting great results across a variety of industries. And I'm excited to get him on the show to learn from his expertise. So, Cesar, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, mate, and thank you for having me. So, bring it on.
Yeah, we're calling. This is a long distance phone call here. Where are you physically located right now?
Well, I'm in Brisbane, Australia.
Oh, wow. So we're halfway across the world with modern technology doing this podcast. That's pretty wild.
That's right. It's 7 p.m. for you. It's 9 a.m. for me for your tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, you're already ahead of us. So tell us how it goes. tell us how the world is doing.
That's it.
Well, I wanted to start off, I wanted to give you a chance to tell us a little bit about your background. I know you have a unique history and how you got into the world of helping business leaders.
Yes, that's funny because I was 13 years old when everything started, right? We went to a friend of mine, my best friend, his cousin. She was having a party. It was her birthday. And suddenly the DJ didn't show up. And then what's happening is I say, okay, I used to play DJing myself at home and I like to mix music. That was my kind of thing that I love to do it with my 13 years old. And we went back to my place and I steal from my parents all the gears from the living area. We set up that in her party. And we just start to play the music and have some fun. So we are a little bit older than her. So we get the kids, we start to dance with them, we just enjoying the things, playing music and dancing. And majority of the parents just say, "Oh, who are you guys? How long you doing those things?" And they start to ask us to do the kids party that was coming next weekend. And then suddenly we start to do 2 3 parties every month, and became a business. His mom was helping us. They very wealthy, so they have a very big structure that she offered to us to be able to support us, and that became a business. 3 years in a row, we're doing 3 to 4 parties every day from Friday to Sunday, recording a lot of tapes. In that stage was tapes, and then from there we start to get a taste of business. My friend, he died very early, and I left the business to his mom because she was the one who really took us for the next level. She looked after the finance. She took us overseas to buy the best gears that we could. She makes the agreement and everything with the people that we was working for us. So those things I didn't touch much. We just enjoying our age and having fun and making some money. So in that place, I start to realize, okay, it's good to be free to do the things that you like and enjoy life. And that was the place that I start to have my journey in business.
So you got a taste of entrepreneurship in a very young age.
That's right. And after that, I went to modeling. I did TV shows. I did theater. And then I went to executive line. So when I was 16, 17 years old, I have 2 friends that the family has industries, and they need to sell products for supermarket and gas station. And I say, okay, that's a good place for me to make money. And then I start to knock in gas station places, and I start to put the products in all gas stations till arrive in the big companies, and I start to centralize the buyer power that they have. And then we became the biggest sales in gas stations in one city, and they invite us to do it nationally. And then I went to key account, and I started to do with supermarkets. And then I have my country in the early 90s. The president has took the savings and the cash flow of all the companies with the excuse to pay the international debt, and this put all the companies in a very danger place. And in my country, you're allowed to trade invoices, right? So in that stage, you start the companies, to keep surviving, they start to trade an invoice, but my client never order that order. It's just because they need cash flow, and this start to destroy everything that we had built, right? And then from that, I went to work for Coca-Cola. And then in a Coca-Cola, I was called to be part of a project from CCIL, which is the head office of the syrup that Coca-Cola head office. And then that project was about to discover the hot spots inside the supermarket and the different buy clients from the supermarket. So you have the people who goes on a daily basis. You have people who go weekly, fortnightly, monthly, and everyone has a different emotional buying. And then you have the weekenders, which does barbecues and the party time. So the study was involving, say, what are the places that Coca-Cola, CCIL, head office supposed to invest money to have the best emotional buying levels. And that's where we start to put the fridge in front of the counters. That's the reason why when you go to the barbecue area, you have some soft drinks there. It used to be just Coca-Cola because we start that. That's where you're going to get a snack, and then suddenly you have a drink next door to you. So all those things were growing between 30 to 45% on the average sales from the same shopping, So they discover early age, the supermarkets, they discover that they need to sell the soft drinks and all beverage at the end of the supermarket because they make everyone walk through the supermarket. But then we have breakdown in pieces, which was a very successful project, and gave me a lot of visibility on the national team that we have. And from there, I start. From there, I went to marketing company, and was one of the biggest marketing company in my country. It was a national one who fights and with accounts against Ogilvy, McCann Erickson, so was a big player there. And in that world, the money speak louder, right? You don't have small budgets for marketing company if you do have the best brands on yourself. So anyway, and they have a little company, which is not little, it's little for them because the budget's too big for big companies. But they have a small company was turning around 20 to $30 million a year, and they used to do that with one brand a month. So anyway, that company was something that they took the focus away from it, and I say, you know what? That's a little company that I would love to be part of because they do have good products. They do everything after subsystem. You know, SAP system. So they used to do everything after as a subsystem in a much cheaper way. And I say, oh, I would love to be part of that company. And in some way, somehow, I got out of the marketing company and start my own company with the same model of that company. And that company start to crash in business partnership. And I say, you know what? If you guys would like to jump on board and start with me here, I have potential good clients. And I made a very good deal with an industry group. And we start the company. I start with 5 people from my living area. And in 18 months, we have probably 20 something people. In less than 3 years, we have 120 people working for us. And we're just going for a lot of the big brands. And because we have the background with a big marketing company, we have some good connections and relationship that allows us to grow that quick, which was awesome. But at the same time, we learn a lot. And that's where I start to arrive in a place to help companies because I need consulting myself. When you grow that quick, what's happening is your finance, your processes, your people, the way you pay tax, the way you pay your superannuation, all those things, they start to get a little bit blurry if you don't have the right people doing the right thing that can also adapt themselves for the growth, right? So grow is not the point. Grow is not a problem. The problem is be ready for the growth before you grow. And that's a learning curve that I have learned from my business, going so many different industries, having solutions for so many different people, and find myself in a place 3 years later that I need to look back and fix all the growth that we have had with a lot of problems that we could not see it because we're growing too quick.
Yeah,
so that's where I arrived at it.
Go ahead. Say again.
No, that's where I start to arrive from the good growth momentum towards to the fixing problem situation. You know, we became the second biggest in South America in our industry, right? And we just not at the first one because the first one was owned by one big private bank, and they making that company grow no matter what because they looking to sell the company later. So it's no other way around to compete with them. They just have they have more years of experience than us, but also they have a bank that was losing money for a while to make them the profit at the end. Just once they can sell the business with a market share, right? So, and then I spent 2.5 years to try to fix the growth of those 3 years, and then the crisis arrived in 2008.
Yeah. What did you learn? Just, curious, you're talking about how, started this company, it grew really quick and you had to spend time fixing it. What are some leadership lessons you learned through that, as you started your own company, you brought people on board, you grew very fast. What did you learn about yourself as a leader through that process?
Oh yeah, I have, from the start, I was cocky, right? My dad was a big HR person and a big executive. He did acquisitions around the planet, and I invite him to help me. And I asked, Dad, please come and help me. And then the first punch in my face that I have received was a nice message from my dad saying that yeah, we need to fix some stuff, but I don't want to tell you that. But I really, if I was working for you, I'm not going to be happy with your style, right? And the reason why is I was 100% motivated. I am the guy who wake up 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I need to do it. I do it no matter what. And your team's not like that. People that works for you, they cannot have that pressure, that pressure in their shoulders. That's you. You need to understand that if you are hungry to grow and you're motivated to grow, you need to understand people and allow them to be themselves, accept who they are. Then you're gonna take the most out of them, and they're gonna take the best out of you. So it's a win-win relationship there. And in a young age, being successful for a while and not believing much in what people say, I just would like to see from my own eye, I believe was a big learning curve to allow yourself to stop to be cocky and understand people better, and allow people to be themselves, and stop to put in people's the targets for your company, because their personal target is much bigger than your company target if you allow them to be themselves. Is this maybe it's a little bit confusing?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think what you're saying a lot, in essence, when you start a company like that, it's all you, right? It's all your hustle. It's all your hard work. And if you just work hard enough, you're going to grow, you're going to succeed. And then you hire a few people and you continue your hustle. But then over time, you realize that I need the entire team. I need all the collective wisdom of all these amazing people if I'm going to really grow. And it can't just be me, my personal efforts, hustling and moving. I need a group of people all motivated through personal objectives to meet the company growth, right? So it sounds like you learned, similar to myself, when I ran my first manufacturing plant, I thought I had to have all the answers, but it turned out all the answers were really in the heads of my employees, and I had to build relationships with them to be able to understand them, and then let them bring themselves, and their own personalities to the company, and bring all their ideas and passions. And once I did that, I realized, well, I don't have to have all the answers. I don't have to have all the hustle. I can do great things through other people. And that's really what leadership is all about, is doing great things through others.
That's completely right. Actually, what the big learn that we had that we learn at the end is, if you allow people to commit mistakes and you guide them through their mistakes to fix them quicker, then you're gonna grow, and then your culture gonna be built in a place that people are gonna stop to be reactive to become proactive. That's the biggest problem, And then if you compare culture with environment, which is it's pretty much they walk hand to hand. I believe the culture is, how can you allow people to be able to be themselves, to deliver the best of themselves towards to the company needs, and take the best of the company towards to their personal needs. That's a kind of culture that's good for you to create. It's hard as a leader if you try to macromanage everything. But if you think that as a business owner, you're supposed to have the right to have more time for your personal needs and your family and friends, and you're not having a company to create you a job, you're supposed to do that anyway.
We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors. Leadership skills are like any other skills. You need to practice them to get better at them. Best-selling leadership author John S. Rennie knows this. That's why he's written a new book called You Have the Watch. It's a guided journal for leaders designed to take you through an entire year of leadership training. By the end of the year, you will master 50 of the most important leadership skills. If you want to have a greater impact on the results and people in your organization, go to youhavethewatch.com and pick up your copy today.
This episode is brought to you by TurboTax. TurboTax experts make all your moves count. Filing with 100% accuracy and getting your max refund guaranteed. So whether you started a podcast like this one, side hustled your way to concert tickets, or quit your job to stream video games online full-time, switch to TurboTax and make your moves count. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
part of the problem with entrepreneurs, and I'm an entrepreneur myself. So we put the world on our shoulders, right? And we feel like we got to carry the burden of everything. And the problem is, and I think you point out, is that we don't have a good work-life balance, right? So in fact, that's why a lot of entrepreneurs burn out, because they try to carry everything on their shoulders. They don't realize that they have a team of people around them that are willing to carry some of the burden themselves, right? And so entrepreneurs, especially business owners, when they start their business from scratch, have a hard time letting go of that and letting other people. And so they end up carrying all the burden, and they ended up stressing out. They end up becoming unhealthy. They don't sleep. They drink a lot of coffee. They don't get any exercise, and they have no work-life balance, right? And I think what you're saying is that it's not the right approach. And the right approach is, give your team the authority to get things done, motivate them to get things done. And then you have a chance to have that, to be able to relax a little bit. You've got other people helping you pull. It's not just you pulling the rope, it's everybody pulling the rope. And I think that's a big part that I think every entrepreneur needs to learn that lesson, because we tend to try to carry too much of the load ourselves.
That's right. I believe that the key point is delegate with responsibility. And being a leader is a mentorship, is a guidance place. Is not having all the answers place. And that's where people get lost. You don't need to have all the answers. And even if you do, you're supposed to give space for them to find an answer that could be better than yours.
Yes.
So if you allow people to bring their life journey and skills to the day-to-day activities, what's going to happen is they might not doing the things that you want them to do it the way that you want them to do it, but they might find a way that's a shortcut or a better way to do what you do, because you're not the same person. Right. So, and the magic of being a good leader is when you can accept that mistakes going to happen, and you're going to need to deal with it, because you are the guy who eats that frog. And that's what people don't get it. I have a friend of mine. I used to say a good friend of mine, but unfortunately he died last year. And he was actually more the father of a couple of my friends. And we just got a very good sync as a person. And as I grow, we have some opportunity to help business from each other's. I don't need to help his business. He was the biggest cellulose paper industry in South America. But I could point the finger in places that he was trying to do things that I was with good relationship. And in some stage, I have a competitor in my distribution center that was paying to be in that first place of buying from a big group. And he helps me. I gave him a call. He was knowing the owner of that group. And he gave him a call and say, hey, he's opened the avenue for me to introduce my products. And I became the one who they bought it from more. And this guy, he used to have a shelf with 17 different frogs, right? And every single frog that he has there has a name. Between us, he has his wife. He has, because he is a family business, but it's a huge family business. He has his brother that fights with everyone. He has his CEOs. He has the president of his bank, blah, blah, blah. He has everyone that he needs to deal there. And then one day he pushed me and say, hey, Cesar, he called me Little Cesar, say, come here, because I was pissed off with things. He has a foundation that I was a member of that foundation, helping him to help some kids in an island to have some education. And anyway, I'm drifting away from the point. But then we went to, I'm sorry, we went to his office, and then he pointed for me and say, hey, Cesar, come here. Let me tell you something. To be able to take the best results for people, I'll tell you what I do. And he pointed for his brother, because his brother was the father of my girlfriend, right? So that's the environment that we know each other. And his brother was not easy person, the easiest person in my life anyway. But then what he said is, he's pointing to his brother and say, hey mate, when I'm like you and I'm a little bit frustrated, what I do is I come here, I lock my door, and I point the finger on this frog nose, and I tell him a naked, real history with the words that I would like to throw in his face. And I just put it down here for as long as I need. Okay. So once I put that out and I feel that, okay, what will be the washback? How he gonna correlate to my message? And I start to understand that for the same outcome, I need to work in my speech. Then I say, okay, I'm ready to talk to him again. But until then, I don't do that. And every single one here, I do the same. And then I say, and then he has only one frog that was a female frog. And I say, I bet this is your wife. I say, yes. And I talk to her every day.
So you talk to your frogs to get the message out, and or at least practice it, and then you can modify your message before you have the real conversation. Yeah, why not?
For the best outcome.
Yeah,
And then from there, I start to teach my clients to do the same thing in a different way. So I learned this in my early 20s, right? And then what I do today is every time that I have a client that pisses off with the team or with clients, or if you have big clients like you work for the government and they owe you $2-3 million and they don't want to pay that and you need to find a way. So what I do is we break down the whole history and we say as opposed to no filters, right? You just put it down everything in the way that you'd like to talk, and you put the dirty words that you wanted. You put your emotions on that letter, okay? You write an email for yourself. You don't send it for anybody else. And then what you do is you finish that mail, you feel good, you send to yourself, you sleep it on that for 1 or 2 days, and you read next day or the day after, right?
Yeah.
And then once you do that and we have another meeting, we're going to arrive on the best outcome. And then we can deal with that frog. That's my version to do what he used to do on his day-to-day.
Yeah. No, that is powerful advice. I know I had a boss that he said, never send an email when you're angry, right? And he would say, draft it up, and then same thing, sleep on it, and then look at it the next day.
Send it.
Yeah.
But send to you.
Send it to yourself.
You're sending for someone. The fact that you push that button is send. It's just a magic that runs and say, I send that. So I did it, but you send it to yourself.
Yeah. And then you can look at it and say, do I really want to send this message? Is that really what I want to communicate? And
so before you open, you put yourself in the other person's shoes. Okay. So you need to swap heads and you say, okay, if I was the CEO of that company and I have this situation here, and I have a supplier that's small like me or big like me or whatever, with this project that's so important for them to be delivered, how am I going to treat this situation? Then you start to read that under their shoes, because the emotions, you already deal with it before.
Yeah.
And then we start to talk about it. And then as a consulting or a mentor in that case, we start to say, put things in place to be able to, the outcome, which is, we want to receive that money. And if you have someone owing you, in that case, in this history, which was a real one, was a $5.8 million in bills that the government doesn't want to pay him.
Wow.
And we got it. But we got it in a way that was very hard, because they don't have the budget. They expose for the federal budget because they need to ask for more money. It was a complex situation. And we need to expose them in so many different ways to be able to get the money. But you need to understand that when you fight, when you have a business that's going to fight for that, you might going to have a big washback. You might get your money, but you might going to suffer 2 or 3 years there to be able to have a new agreement with the government, right? But you need to know which fight to pick and how you'd like to deal with it.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I have a question for you. You're dealing with a lot of small and medium business owners and entrepreneurs and leaders. What are some of the biggest problems that people come to you for? What are the kind of things that they're stuck in? Or is it like you, where they grew too fast? What are some of the challenges that you deal with business owners?
Yeah. I believe the biggest challenge is to accept the real problem. They usually come into you. I believe the biggest challenge that I have my whole life in consulting and coaching and mentoring is discover what they don't want to tell you, right? Because the people have the feeling that what they need but majority of time they don't know exactly what's the problem. So making them understand, making them comfortable enough to understand that what they're saying to you is it's good, and you saw a lot of that, but what makes that happen is actually not what looks like that's your problem. And then make them realize that in a place that I am there as a potential taker, because I would like to sell my services, and say whatever you tell them, and I have a funny history on that, whatever you tell them that the problem is not what they think and it's another thing, looks like too silly, looks like that you're trying to catch them to get more money out of them, right? So if you're out there and you can see the problem and you are a business owner, entrepreneur, try to understand that that problem has a cause that you maybe don't know what it is. And if you're going to talk with someone that's really understand what they're doing, be open for criticism in a positive way, because you might going to discover something that you don't know about your company.
Yeah. We tend to be very sensitive, right? It's our baby. As an entrepreneur, like my company is my baby, right? If I go to a consultant and I say, my baby's not feeling very good, and they look down and they say, well, your baby's ugly. You say, wait, this is my baby here,
No, the problem, I don't believe you're going to say that your baby is ugly. We're going to say, hey, he's not feeling well because you're doing before that. So to be able to grow your business, and if you are entrepreneur and you really love your baby, be open that to understand what Albert Einstein told us many years ago is the brain who brought you at the place that you are now will not be the same who gonna bring you to the next level. Be open. You can be the one to do it if you can self-develop yourself and allow different things to go. I used to have a guy in my company that every single big company wants him to be the guy who does the design stuff, right? And he was very good. But to deal with him, oh Jesus, was a nightmare. He doesn't respect the culture. He doesn't respect time. He talks to people like they are very below his level. He was a nightmare to keep in the office, right? But he was very good to delivery. And I discovered that he works better when he's at his home at night doing his own thing, right? I discovered that's the reason why he arrives always late. So his time cycle, his personal, and I call that in my book, because I say you have your personal cycle, you have your business cycle, you have the industry cycle. So his personal cycle, and I learned from that. So his personal cycle was 5-6 p.m. is the best time for him to start to work. Don't try to put this guy to work 8 to 5.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And then he's not a team player. Don't try to put him to have a team. Just making him only star. Right? So, and then with him, what I have done is I took his chair away. I took his desk away from the office. I put in his house. I paid 30% of his cost of living on his unit. Right? Because he needs to do stuff. He needs to smoke stuff. He needs to bring girls. He needs to be crazy to be in his kind of tune to do the crazy good stuff that people love, right? And that's where we need to sit. We need to allow that people can find and tune the cycle to be able to deliver the best of themselves. And or you accept that, or you don't work with them.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I know, I write about in my latest book about a sailor I had working for me on the submarine. He was my worst sailor, and he was always getting into trouble. And the main reason that he was bored, right? He was, whenever he was bored, he would get into all sorts of trouble on the boat. But I found is that he was actually brilliant, and I needed to use his expertise more, use his brain more, and the more and more I got him involved with really difficult maintenance procedures, when I got him training the new reactor operators, suddenly he was never bored, and he was excited, and he loved what he was doing, and we went from being my worst sailor to my best sailor because I figured out his cycle, the way he worked, right? And I captured that. The same thing with this employee, right? He was creative, he was wild, but he was really good on his own. He needed to be kind of isolated, left on his own, and kind of allowed to do his own thing to be able to bring his best to the company. And I think we have to recognize that not every person's the same. We're all different, right? I always say that people are messy, and we all come with different histories. We come from different backgrounds, different cultures, different experiences, and so we see work differently. Every person that works for my company sees work differently than I do, and we have to be flexible enough to just sit back and allow them to bring their own personalities to work and their own unique way they see work. And it's hard to do. Because like you said, leaders, we want to force everybody into the same. No, here are the working hours. Here's what you must do. Here's how you're going to get along. And that person would have never fit into that box, And so, so I think it's a really important lesson.
That's it. And that's another thing that we have in family business, entrepreneurs and business owners, that they get attached to the people that's there for the money. And they cannot say no for those people, and there's no reason why. And they usually ask to leave people that they cannot deal with. But usually those people are the ones who break through the culture to bring the best part of yourself back to the game. So when you have a conflict situation with an employee and you are the business owner, sometimes you don't like to be told. And actually, if you pay attention, the people that you ask to leave sometimes are the best potential people that you can work in your business. And the people that you're supposed to ask to leave and you keep in the business, that you find excuse every day to keep them working for you, they are the one that you should cut straight away. Yeah. So, and that's when we say, oh, we mess it up, because we want to create a business to feel comfortable with. So we are the king of the mountain on that place. That's wrong, because you're creating a job for you. You can be the king of the mountain in your business with the right leadership without needing to be present. And that's where you're supposed to create your business to go through. So you need to have a business to work for you. That's what I do. That's the sense of where I arrive in my years of experience, to translate that those businesses that you need to be there, you're losing your kids' time, you're losing your personal life time, and you are the business owner, you make good income, but you cannot get away from the chain that you have created. Those are the clients that I love the most, if they are open to get away from the stagnation mode. Make sense? Because if you get the life cycle or the life journey of a business, you have the start point, and then I have 4 key names that I named those steps. I just would like to sell, to look like that I'm selling something. So, but you have 4 steps in your life cycle, and one of them is when you arrive in a place that you're comfortable with, you still want to grow, but you're not that hungry anymore. I call this stagnation. Okay, so you have 2 levels of stagnations. You have the stagnation that's the bad one, because you're being lazy or you're not committed with everything. And you have the stagnation that you know where you're at and you're happy with. So there are 2 points. And then from stagnation, you go for circulation mode, which is you start to get more motivated to do new stuff, or to start to find different ventures, and you start to get more curious of what else you have in the store, right? And then from the circulation, you start to get the growth, right? And then from the growth, you're going to arrive in stagnation back again, because one day you're going to stop, say, oh, I'm big enough now, I don't need to be worried about anything, and I'm going to just keep cruising, right? That's a stagnation. But then in all those levels, and I have learned early stage with my companies, if you not start a company knowing how the end looks like, you're going to get lost, because you might going to get stagnated at the place that you're not supposed to, right? Or you start to get growth at the place that you're not supposed to either. Yeah. So you need to know the end goal from where you're going to before you start it, because if you set up like that, you save time and money for the place that you'd like to arrive.
Right. Wow. Yeah, that's fantastic. And I know you have a lot on your website. You have a lot of resources that people can find, right, to talk about a lot of this. In fact, I think you have a book that you can access, right?
Yeah. So the book will be launched in 30 days, but I already put some stuff online in my website, CesarHasselmann.com. the book calls the Life Breakthrough. It's supposed to be a pocket book just to show the part of the emotional side and to the reality show side of a business and a mindset, takes you to your personal life too, and just allow you to break down those phases to help you to make better decisions. Just to clarify, not just the emotional side of the business that nobody likes to see as a reality, but the fact is you make calls based in your emotions. If they're positive or negative, doesn't matter. The emotion is a conclusion of where you're going with all the content that you have learned from that specific need, right? So, and some stage you don't deal with people at all, and even if the business makes sense, right? So, and then the books explain those phases. I break down in 7 chapters, and those chapters I approach specific things, and I bring all the matters, the physical, the mental, the spiritual, and I just light on them. I don't tell people what to do. I guide them to have their own conclusions. I hope that people are going to like it, but it's not 100% finished because my English is not my first language. I do need help to do grammar checking, spelling checking more than usual. But we'll be out in the next 30 days, and I'm giving away for people that is hearing for us today as well, if that's something that I can do. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fantastic. No, I think it's great. I've been on your website. I think it's fantastic. There's a lot of great resources on there. I mean, if you're a small to medium business owner and you're struggling, work-life balance, you're struggling to grow, you're struggling with boredom, maybe you're stagnated, this is a great resource. So how can people find out more about you and your company?
Okay, yeah. So they can jump on the website. The website has everything. They have the emails there. They have the phone number. I have under the consulting. I have space for people to share the thoughts, and I share the thoughts with them too. So I try to make that very much alive. The website alive, that people can correlate to the problems without needing to pay upfront anything. That's the other thing. As a consulting coaching, if you cannot show value, why people are supposed to take you on board? With so many people out there selling shortcuts without knowing exactly what's behind the scenes happen. Yeah. I'm pretty much believe that people needs to be very conscious to try to poke the coaching, consulting, mentoring people as deep that they can before they put the credit card on the table.
Yeah. I agree 100%. And the other thing, the reason I wanted to have you on the show is that you come from experience. In other words, you're teaching, coaching, training, helping entrepreneurs, but you've been through the entrepreneur journey yourself. You've started when you were 13 years old, right? You started and you built a company, a small company into a very large company. So you've been through all these cycles. And I think, again, if you're going to learn, if you want to help yourself, find people that have been there and done that, and I think that's why I want to have you on the show. And Cesar, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing these stories. And again, I really encourage listeners to check out his website, check out this new book coming out later this year, because I think it's a great resource for you and especially if you are an entrepreneur, small business owner, this is something that's really going to help you. So Cesar, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you, mate. I appreciate that you opened this channel for me. I appreciate that the whole history, your background, and everything that I could see about you is amazing too. I would love to talk more about it. I believe you do have a good team behind you, and also a good brain to share. I wish you can be the person to interview yourself in your own program one day.
Yes.
I believe your people deserve that. And I'm more than happy to be part of it. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I'm here at any time of the week if you guys want me to talk more about anything.
That's fantastic. Well, we really appreciate it.
Thank you, mate.
Well, that's it for today. Thank you for listening to Deep Leadership. If you like this podcast, please subscribe and share so we can continue to build a world with better bosses. Until next time, this is John Rennie saying, take care and lead well.
Thank you for listening to Deep Leadership.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all you do.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information and updates, please visit our website at www.deepleadershippodcast.com or johnsrennie.com. Until next time, take care.
Welcome to Tuning Into Sound Wellbeing, where we harmonise your mind, body and soul. I'm Amanda, your sound therapy expert.
And I'm Stephen, the curious explorer uncovering the mysteries of sound.
Together we explore vibrations, frequencies and the power of sound therapy and tuning forks.
Discover ancient wisdom, reduce stress and tune into a healthier life. Subscribe to Tuning Into Sound Wellbeing today.
Hey, it's Tim from 50 Years of Music with 50-Year-Old White Guys, the comedy podcast you had no idea you needed. Join Ben, Jeff, and me as we continue our musical road trip back through the years and around the globe. See, just when you thought all white guys were like Joe Rogan, you come across three educators trying to remember when we were cool.
50 Years of Music with 50-Year-Old White Guys.
Electricast.